Welcome to the Rising Woman Leaders podcast. We are a sisterhood of women stepping into courage, self-love, and feminine leadership. I'm your host, Meredith Ram, and here I'll be sharing personal insights as well as interviews with inspiring leaders and entrepreneurs so you can create more daily magic in your life and also grow your business without losing sight of spiritual values as a rising woman leader. If you like this podcast, use our hashtag Rising Woman Leaders, follow me on Instagram at Meredith Ram, and sign up for email updates at risingwomanleaders.com. You'll receive all the new and inspiring content, including insights I only share on email. Now get cozy with a cup of tea, light a candle, and grab a journal to listen to this week's magical radio podcast. Hi everyone, it's Meredith. I wanted to premise this episode by just letting you know that there are some really powerful insights and wisdom that come through about what's happening in the state of the world and with women in particular, and listening to the call of the goddess and coming into their rising. And I just really want to encourage you to listen to this episode all the way to the end, especially around 3/4 of the way in when Achintya starts speaking of some really powerful wisdom. So she has a beautiful invitation for you as well to take into your heart as we end this year and begin again in 2017. I'm about to go into a 10-day Vipassana silent meditation retreat where I will be in meditation for up to 10 hours a day, You might even be listening to this while I'm there, so you can think good thoughts for me. But I thought this was just the perfect episode to share with you to close out this year, to come into your heart and your intentions for what is ahead. And I am sending you all so much love. I can't wait to share all the episodes that I have waiting for you in 2017. So have a beautiful day and enjoy the show. Namaste. Hi everyone, I'm here today with Achintya Devi, who is the founder of Goddess Rising, a global sisterhood and school of women's wisdom and moon mysteries, dedicated to activating and empowering the wild sacred feminine within women worldwide. As a women's wisdom guide and teacher, ordained priestess, holistic health practitioner, acupressure therapist, and Kundalini yoga and meditation teacher, she is especially passionate about women reclaiming and embodying the rhythm of their womb moon wisdom and rising together in sisterhood to reawaken the collective feminine power for lasting transformation and to serve as sacred feminine leaders in this era of great planetary awakening. Thank you for being here, Achintya.
Oh, thank you for having me, Meredith, and for everyone listening. So honored to be with you in this space at this time.
Yeah, and I know that, so you live on the great island of Maui, right? And
yes.
yes, and you were just spending some time in California, where I live. And I would love to just start off by hearing about your travels and what was happening for you there.
Well, I did used to live in Northern California as well, just further north of you. I lived there for a long time. I first moved to California to go to the Heartwood Institute in 2000. And so that's up in Humboldt County. And that was a gateway for me to really have a lot of years, a lot of chapters in my life in Northern California. So I'm really familiar with the landscape there and the energy there. That is another home for me. So I'm in California at least twice a year with friends and reconnecting to the land and And also for work, for hosting trainings, and for Moon Temple's Red Tents, and for being with Amma as well, as which we were just touching on before our recording here. And so yeah, this past journey was a quick one, one of which I wasn't quite sure if it would lead me home to Maui or to North Dakota at Standing Rock, which is still sort of up for spirit to for the guidance to be there. But yeah, it's a powerful time right now, and I'm just returning home, settling in from really some deep feeling of my well. I feel with Amma, who's been my spiritual teacher since I was 19 years old. So I'm definitely, it's part of my 6 month trajectory to always be with her and in her presence. So that was a big part of my journey, and spending time with my beloved Shems, and him and I reconnecting with his family and some of our dear friends, and being with my dear sister Amma, who I co-teach Priestesses of the Moon with and our Wild Sacred Women retreats. So yeah, it was a full time being with nature, being with Amma, being with friends, being with family, and in creation of some goodies that will come out in the new year as well.
Yeah, it's so good and so important to take those times of self-reflection and retreat, especially as women who hold a lot of space. I find that it is really important for us to take that time for ourselves to, like you said, like fill up your own wellspring. I'd love to hear more about Amma, and so I feel like we've connected through the Instagram world a little bit, and then I had listened to an interview of you where you talked a bit about Amma, and I just felt my heart open. And like anyone I feel that has a heart connection with Amma, there's just something special there for me, as she was a teacher that really helped me in a time when I was like at the very beginning of my spiritual path and discovery, and led me to travel to India and have a lot of openings. So I'd love to hear about your time with her, and also just how you came to find her.
There is so much I feel I could share about my time being with Amma. For those of you that don't know, she is the form of the divine feminine incarnate, great mother alive on the planet, who's truly here as the embodiment of love and service. And being in her presence truly, oh, I can become speechless, and at the same time, yeah, I feel like I can share a lot. My journey first began with her, as you were asking, Meredith, when I was 19, and my aunt and uncle, who had been with her previously, invited me to this meditation retreat. And little did I know that that weekend would for sure change the course of my life, or alter and enhance the journey of my path. And I had some of the most profound experiences in my meditations with her, and it became very clear to me that she was for real, and that I was meant to, to really continue to connect with her, even though I didn't fully understand it on a mental level at that time. My experiences of God or goddess had really been through nature, and it did take a little bit of time for my mind to sort of understand that yes, this is happening, through the form of a person as well, which after years and years, I feel really truly is. It still correlates to energy, nature being the mama goddess, Amma being the mother goddess in human form, just that this is truly about connecting with the presence of unconditional love, which essentially is all of our nature. And so, yeah, really, I feel like her presence has been a huge guiding force and light in my life, as I felt really inspired after a couple years of quote unquote being with her or having since met her, where I felt the large pull to go to India. So I first went there, what year was that? 2002, and have had about 8 different journeys to India to go to her ashram and be on her travels, on her tours, the North India tours, the South India tours, where she is in full force, giving blessings and her programs and her teachings, in addition to all of the incredible humanitarian charities that happen through her. And everything, it's so amazing to me because really she is such the icon for me of leadership, where she is sourcing herself from the infinite source, which she is completely connected to, and she is offering this to the world, is offering her presence to end suffering, is offering her work to end poverty, is giving of this infinite well to benefit others. And it's absolutely, to me, still after 21 years, absolutely, completely jaw-dropping, inspiring to see how she is with every individual with full presence, and how she is utilizing every single breath of her life to enhance humanity and to shift the things that need to be shifted on the planet so that people are not suffering, and so that we are truly walking as leaders in the world, rooted from a place of spirit within, having spirituality be the force of which all this is derived from. And people ask her all the time, and I feel the same too. It's like, what's your religion? And she shares love and service. So yeah, there's a little window.
Yeah, it's so inspiring, and it's beautiful to hear that this is one of your guiding lights, someone that you look to as an example in leadership. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really actually her that, through being with her, that Goddess Rising was birthed. I had an experience of being in her ashram in 2012 where I really wanted to give forth a New Year's resolution workshop, because this was, a big year, the Mayan calendar ending. And I had this experience within that time that, and it was just for women, that's really where it all coalesced for me. I had a really strong experience of her presence coming through me, where I had this almost sort of revealing of the path in front of me, and that everything from this lifetime and perhaps others had come and arrived at this moment where I knew clearly, without a doubt, that I was now meant to really serve women, to serve my sisters, to utilize all of my gifts in support of women rising together in remembrance of themselves, of their power, of the goddess. And so, yeah, it was really through my experience with her then that she was like, all right, you've done enough of, serving in the ashram and, doing this certain work in your life, etc. And now it's time to go do this. And so my time at her ashram has been less and less and less since then, because I feel, as she does with so many of her children, is say, okay, now it's time to go and to fulfill this mission. This is, why you're here. And so in that way, I feel like, we're, as women, I feel, that are committed to awakening on the path and serving in leadership, that we are essentially all working for the queen bee, that queen bee of the goddess, of the mother, that we're really all under her divine wings, that are here for the same purpose, and utilizing our gifts to serve that purpose, to walk our purpose.
Yeah, and our work can really reach new levels when we approach it from that place of that, honestly, just really wanting to give and to serve and to watch, to be of help to other people in their path. And I can just
Absolutely.
think of that shift when I became a yoga teacher. It was like that first big shift of like, wow, at first I thought I was going to this training to do something for myself and to learn. And then suddenly it's like that shift into, no, there are actually really a lot of people who need this right now. And if I can just be a vehicle of that.
I love that. And, I really feel that, it's this constant place of always being a student of life and serving and teaching and leading, that we really can't have that leadership without continually being a student, of having that attitude of humility and the welcoming in of the next level of what we can expand or what we can deepen into, what we can learn, because we're human and we are constantly having the opportunity to come to another place of embodiment within our own selves, to be able to share that with others. That's my experience anyways.
I agree. Yeah, and I'm curious what you were holding in your heart, in particular this recent time of being with Amma, and any wisdom or insights that came to you from just this past visit.
Well, this is something, I feel this autumn has been a huge time of great impact, where there's so much uncertainty in the collective, and there's a lot of celebration, and there's a lot of empowerment, and there's a lot to be grateful for. And simultaneously, there is, I feel, the great uncertainty in the unknown and the direction of our planet. And some of this was brought forth, I guess, for me in my heart, it was many things, and one of them being in my commitment to serve, and to serve out of love, and to truly share teachings and wisdom and embodiment for women to rise in the empowerment of their selves, and really informed by the rhythms of the moon, the power that lies within the wisdom of the womb, and to really be connected to the earth and leading from this place. I took it upon myself to really have one of my intentions to have some of this time be for me to fill up, because I am, holding deep space for a lot of women at this point in my journey. And I know that for me, it's really important to be able to just surrender to the goddess and be her daughter, and to just be in her presence. So that was, saying, part of filling up my well. And also, at the same time, is really this place from the perspective of being committed to this path for my own self, and being a priestess on this path of serving love and serving the goddess, and walking in a way that I can be of best service. I have had the inquiries and the holding of the collective in my heart, of feeling how, with the recent elections and with all that's happening at Standing Rock, as two of our most sort of strong events that have taken place recently, that this place of the future, and how do we move forward in this unknown, and where there's a lot of collective fear. And one of the things that took place is that was actually vocalized by a dear brother of mine in his questions. And Amma's response was really profound, and it really was so simplified by this story, and which I think is just, we can all relate to. And I think that's what's so powerful about Amma, is that she shares these stories in which we can all relate to learn through them. Where there was two boys in a pool, and there was no lifeguard, and one of them didn't know that he could swim, and he started to drown, but he didn't have any fear. And the other boy that was there said, "Aren't you scared? You know, like, you're about to drown." And he said, "No, I'm not scared, because I know that my mother's here with me." And that was just, I felt like the whole room just had this sigh of understanding that even in these times of, where we feel like we're drowning, or we feel despair for the collective, for our own selves, for what is, out of our control, that when we have faith, when we have the Great Mother, when we have God, when we have Goddess, when we understand, or feel, more importantly, feel that we are actually being guided by Spirit and that we aren't alone, that the fear dissipates. And for me, this isn't to say that we don't act. This isn't to say that we just give that responsibility over to the divine and we don't do anything, but it's that it's informing how we act and how we serve, knowing that, at least for me, I can say that I know that there is a grander purpose. I believe that all that's happening right now on the planet is happening in divine order, even though I don't like a lot of what I'm seeing. I understand that it's a part of the shadows that have been hidden away that are now coming to such a great light for us to no longer hide them, but for us to really see them, so that we can take action for healing, or for peace, or for justice. And so I'm seeing that with our collective coming together, at Standing Rock and around the world, to make a difference and say, no longer are we going to stand for our our native peoples of this land and lands all around the world to be perpetrated in this way. No longer are we willing to allow for the pollution of our waters. No longer are we allowing for corporate greed. It's, in this larger sphere, I see how this is the Kali Yuga, Kali being the goddess that is taking out her sword to cut away the ego, and part of that is for it to be exposed, and so we have this opportunity, I feel, to do this beautiful and often can be challenging inquiry of, like, okay, where have we perpetrated? Where have we been disrespectful to the earth? Where can we be accountable for our own selves, and then move forward from there? And the other piece being that, which I have felt for years and years, and I feel like it's finally, there's like more of us, I feel, who are seeing this and believing this too, or experiencing that, this sort of trust in the government of, speaking of apparent leadership, yes, there are incredible things about the governments around the world. And there are ways in which clearly we can see that the way that they currently are in bed with larger corporations are truly destroying the earth, because they have their bottom line of top dollar over the preservation of Mother Earth and all of her peoples. And so it feels this incredible time right now where we're all rising and calling bullshit on the things that are the lies that we've been fed for so long, and to say, you know what, nobody else is going to lead us out of this but ourselves, and truly, truly, that we are the ones we've been waiting for. There is no one here that we can just, be our savior. It's like, no, it's time to mobilize en masse together to make a shift. And that's why I believe those that are listening right now, and those that are in our spheres of people that we connect with, have a a similar resonance with this, that we recognize that we are all here to serve as change agents, as change makers, to truly catalyze the shift and be the solutions, and to implement these in the world from the inside out. Okay, that was lengthy, but there you go.
Wow. It's so powerful and such just potent wisdom that is really needed at this time. And wow. And I'm just thinking about all of this and you holding this space. And I'm curious of, did you always feel this calling and growing up and coming into more of your power and holding that space? What did it look like for you? Like, was there a moment of awakening? Was there, or was it like it always a part of you? I'm curious around that aspect of your journey.
Yeah, I feel like it's both. I feel like us to have come into this world choosing a family that is, on the spectrum, pretty much on the path of awakening, and, a really loving family, large family, not necessarily like my nuclear family, but my greater family who I'm really close with. And so I feel like I have had great support from my family from a very, very young age, which has truly made a huge impact for me. And of course, we all have chosen our challenges to catalyze us through different rites of passages to bring forth our strength, for us to see ourselves, and in these times of great challenge to forge ahead. And so I've definitely had a few of those for sure. One of them being in my early 20s where I was experiencing severe menstrual cramping, which I relate to. This is sort of trifold or twofold, which is really interesting to just, think about the earth right now, what we're speaking about of leadership and the earth's resources and how our bodies are representations of the earth as well, and how there's, pollution to the earth and how there have been pollution to our bodies. Well, I was preparing to go for a journey to Ecuador and Peru, and I was on the fence about getting certain inoculations, which I ended up doing, and really was a poisoning of my body. And that affected me in great ways. I had severe menstrual cramping for years, shortly after that, and also really intense acne. And those two things really were a great teachers for me. So it was like I see this now. It's like how we take in the poison, that of the snake's poison, or being the medicine. Okay, wait, I'm going to reframe that. Having the medicine of the serpent, like taking poison and transmuting it into something else. And so, which is gold, transmuting it into gold, to a gift. And so this is definitely part of what I can see now that really assisted my journey into being in the leadership that I'm in now, and the empowerment that I'm in now from that. And so I had no idea at the time that those inoculations were going to vaccines, or they were rabies shots, actually, among other things, that were going to really alter my body in significant ways. And the cramping really was so intense for me that I had to journey deep, deep within. It's like going to the deep underworld of pain and of apparent separation, and to the places where I then understood and felt the greater global cramp, the cramping of how women are, you know, really manipulated into feeling disempowered by advertising, by the collective, by society, the ways in which we, stuff ourselves away from feeling our pain and our anger and our emotions. All of these sort of greater epidemics that I see on the planet of how women are challenged and are struggling, I experienced through this great physical pain in my early 20s. And that really catalyzed me into the deepening of the blood mysteries and healing and my lineage and of, both blood and the cosmic lineages. And always have felt this, this understanding of walking the path of the priestess that I've felt since a very young age, where I started to feel like, okay, this is the deepening of that, and sort of didn't understand at the time where it was going to lead, so it was sort of like the breadcrumbs following those breadcrumbs of the great mystery. And the second part being, having really intense acne at a young age or not a young age. I mean, this is the thing, is I had it later in life because of these, of the rabies shots in my body completely reacting, trying to get this poison out of me. And that was extremely challenging to have to then, go into deep, deep vow to myself to be completely authentic from my heart without judging or criticizing the way that I looked, that I didn't like the way that I looked. And I think that that's truly another epidemic that's on this planet. I think most women on the planet in some way don't like something about them. They can easily say, oh, I don't like my thighs, I don't like my eyebrows, I don't like this, da, da, da. And it, depending on how deep that is or how ingrained that is, can be a real, it can be so detrimental to our precious hearts, to us as women and as human beings. And so that really was a great catalyst for me to be able to have deep, deep, deep self-love and compassion. So those are, definitely a couple things that come to mind sort of in relation to this greater conversation, that were sort of my underworld journeys, and to rise, from that, because this is something each and every one of us have. We each have something, no matter how much, grace and love is in our lives. We've chosen to have certain challenges to bring us into greater remembrance and reclamation of ourselves, and then what our dharma is in the world, how we are chosen, or how we choose to then serve, to take that poison and offer it now as gold. So I feel like I've come, greatly full circle and risen from that, to be able to really be in the space to catalyze.
A lot of my work is around connecting to that self-love, to allow ourselves to just be exactly as we are, and to go deeper into that self-love. And I'd love to hear just a little of how you began to connect to that self-love. And for anyone that may be listening that is going through a challenge or a hard time or a difficult relationship to their body, what do you have to offer for them, or to what wisdom do you have to share around that?
Wow, isn't that just like the whole journey of this life, right? That's a really powerful question. And I really feel that everyone's deep journey with this is so unique and different, and yet at the same time it's so interwoven, because when we come down to our innate nature as human beings, spirit living inside this body, our nature is love. That is who we are. And whatever ways have come forth on each of our paths that have challenged us are, in a way, truly the things that test us to still come home to the love within ourselves. And so I know that there are so many of us on the planet that have, well, everyone has experienced pain on some level. And for some of us, it's been more traumatic than others. And it really, I feel it really is the pain and the joy, or the pain and the love, or the fear and the love, are truly all just two sides of the same coin. And that there's such an opportunity to have this lens to integrate, because when you're experiencing really deep pain or continual chronic negative self-talk and beliefs that are really pulling you towards fear and away from love, when there is at least some sort of recognition of this and the choice then that we all need to make. I think this is the wisdom piece, that like nobody can do this except for yourself, is to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to choose something else. And then when that is there, when there's that moment of really empowered choice, it's been my experience, and I've witnessed so many women as well, where there's this opening to go deeper into the pain. And when we go deeper into the pain and fully feel it for what it is, then naturally it shifts. There is truly, I feel like it is the doorway, to the things that we feel in our lives that are uncomfortable, or that are painful, or that are super challenging. We've been so conditioned to turn away from them that it's not pleasurable. It doesn't feel good. But it's really the medicine of that pain to actually walk towards it, or the fear and walk towards it. Because if we keep turning away from it, it's going to keep perpetuating in our lives, and the same patterns are going to be repeating themselves, and sort of this endless cycle, like a hamster wheel, of some sort of level of dissatisfaction or continued chronic fear or self-doubt, and on and on and on and on. But when we really can, look that challenge in the mirrors, if it is, if that is anxiety, or if that is feeling scared, or beliefs of not being good enough, or whatever that is, it's truly that part of the pain, when fully felt through the body, something shifts energetically in our DNA, in our brain structure, in our cells, and truly in our hearts, to recognize that, oh, wow, there's actually a deeper truth that lies underneath this. And for every person, that's going to be slightly different. And yet at the same time, it's, oh, yes, I am, I am love. I am the embodiment of love. I am not separate from God, Goddess. I am not separate from spirit. I am not separate from my fellow human beings on this planet. There's such this incredible healing and opportunity that arises from this. And so it's really, it's my belief that it's so important for us to continually in our lives walk towards what feels uncomfortable, because there's truly medicine that is there for each and every one of us. And a deep insight and powerful revelation that can only be had when we do turn to face that.
Oh, yes, it's so true. And this makes me think of two things. One is that I'm about to go into a 10-day Vipassana meditation course.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yes. 10 days of silence, 10 days, like 10 hours a day of meditation. Mm-hmm. I've done it once before, a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's potent medicine because everything comes up, and from the pain in the body to sometimes past emotional pains. And the practice is about becoming the witness to it all and not being in a place of aversion or craving, but rather just watching it, letting it be, feeling it, and going deeper into it, and watching that it is impermanent and there is something that it transforms into. Other thing that reminded me, I just went to Hot Springs, and there's the cold plunge at this hot springs I went to. Or Hot Springs, maybe you've been there.
Oh, yes, many times. I used to live near there.
Yeah. And the whole time that I was avoiding the cold plunge, I was like, no way, I'm not going near the cold water. Like, just gonna go in the hot water, get really cozy in here, and like. But at the same time, every time I got out of the hot water, I would just be so cold, and it was really uncomfortable. But as soon as I was like, I'm going to go for the cold plunge, and I just went for it, and I got out, and I felt invincible. I felt like my body heated myself up, and suddenly I could stand in the cold air because I was willing to just go deep into that cold.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that because it's like, because what the cold does is it pushes the heat in you. So in that same way, it's like, okay, when I go into my resistances, as I go into my aversions, it actually like pushes the truth and the love like back into me. Like that's powerful. I love that. And I love Orr.
Yes. It is. Oh, such good wisdom. I'd love to hear your insight and take on what is happening right now in the world and what is happening with women and coming into their power, and this idea around goddess rising and what is happening with women right now.
Right to the core. Here we go. Yeah. Wow. Well, the great goddess Kali comes direct in this moment. And for those of you that are listening, I know that you've either heard about Kali, this goddess, or, and if you haven't, definitely read up about her. Basically, well, we're embodying her right now. We're actually in the great cycles of time, and we have the cycles of the moon and the cycles of the sun and the cycles of the seasons and these greater cycles of time. We are, in this great Kali Yuga, and Kali is the goddess who is about destruction, and she is here coming forth onto the planet in her essence, rising through us as women to destroy our egos, to destroy all that is keeping us from our power. Kali, is this goddess, when you look at her and how she's depicted with the skulls around her neck, and she's slaying all these demons with her sword, and she looks super fierce and scary from the outside. But on the inside, she has the biggest heart and is the great mother in the form of this incredible compassion. And she loves her children and us so much that she comes forth to strip away, to cut away anything that is truly not serving to be on our path, that is not serving our upliftment, that is really here to destroy, the beliefs that we carry, that we have been taught, that we've been conditioned into, that keep us in patriarchal subservience, that keep us from loving each other, that keep us from uniting as sisters, as brothers and sisters, as a family on this planet. So all of this destruction that we see that's taking place all around us in Aleppo right now, at Standing Rock, as the earth is, been raped and is being raped, that is being pillaged, out of greed and out of fear. This is where Kali comes to the earth and is like, I am here to cut all of this fucking bullshit away, to realize and recognize who you truly are and what is really important. So all of that which I see around that's taking place on the planet, and all that's really can be challenging to look at, I believe does serve this greater picture and this greater dance that we're in, that's so hard, that can be so hard for us, for women that are on this path right now of awakening to their power. It's like, okay, well, what is power? When we look around and we see, big corporations and the governments that, that claim to be of service, that are of power. It's like, that's actually not power. That's manipulation and control. And this is where Kali comes to cut this away, and she's putting this all in our face so that we can make that choice and say, you know what, I want to choose another way. I know there is another way. And it's like everything that's happening on the outside is truly what's happening on the inside of our global human consciousness that we're all connected with. So the feelings that we may feel that are anger and sadness and despair and grief, and maybe just like start crying out of nowhere. It's like, we as women, we feel, and we are empaths, and we are intuitive. We are made of water, the same water that runs around the globe, that is being polluted, and the pollution that's inside of us that's now getting extracted. It's like, we are tapping into not only our own personal story and how that weaves with the larger collective, but we're tuning into the transpersonal, where sometimes it can get a little murky of like, oh, is this mine, or is this, that of the collective? And because we're all connected, it's, I think that that's another piece where we get to really refine ourselves and our own boundaries and say, okay, that's something else, but yet I'm feeling it. And that's because we are midwives and we are midwifing. And we're midwifing love back to the planet. Mm. And I know that this is truly, why we are gathering together as women, that we're not only just midwifing love back to the planet, but we're midwifing the return of the divine feminine, of the goddess, to come and unite with the masculine, and where the masculine is going through its own rebirth, in men and in women. And so the goddess, there's so many specific goddesses from countless cultures and places on this beautiful earth. And in essence, the goddess, the divine feminine, has been repressed, has been shamed, has been hidden. And at the same time, she's chosen to go underground for some time. And now she's choosing, because it is time, to return. And she doesn't return just outside of us. She's coming through us. Mm. So she's pushing out, Kali is pushing out, all that is within us, that is keeping us from truly being in freedom, and being in our sovereignty, and being in our divinity, and being in our unity. And this is the journey of the modern woman right now. that no longer can, we live our lives, just for ourselves, but that we're living this life in remembrance of truly what it means to be a human being, to serve on the planet, to live our dreams and make the necessary steps to offer what we can in our gifts to birth and to change the world for truly how we wish to live for ourselves and for our future generations. Like, this is no joke. It's like, this is why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I feel I could go on, and it truly feels like, it's like, this is why I do the work that I do. And I feel that for so many other women, but just speaking for myself in this moment, it's like, this is why I choose to to get on the computer every day, to show up, to be accountable, to act with integrity, to, truly be the best that I can be in devotion to love and service, to midwife, the goddess rising again on the planet in her true, powerful, beautiful essence that is really the nature of each and every woman on this planet and encompasses all beings. And yeah. Whew. Thanks for bringing that forth, Meredith.
Yeah, I'm going to breathe that in.
Yeah. Oh.
It makes me think about how, because Kali is kind of wild and messy and
Yeah.
transformational, and it's not always going to be easy. Like, there are going to be some real things we have to face within ourselves around fully stepping into our power and our greatness, and of being that high lights and beacons to be of service. I imagine for you, I imagine connecting deeply, deeply to this why, and connecting to what it is that you are really here to do and why you're here to do it has helped you to work through fears and challenges and doubts that come up along the way. And I wondered if you could speak directly to, like, imagining there is a woman out there right now, and I know there are many of them who are doubting themselves and stepping into their power. What you would say to her, what you would say to those women.
That we really need you right now. That the gifts that you were born with, the gifts that you may have repressed or have, said goodbye to a long time ago, or that which has really given you great joy and pleasure as a young child, the talents that you have, the ways of being that truly are the essence of uniquely who you are. We need that right now. And every single one of us has, is like a snowflake, that is completely unique. And if we imagine, this in the same way that there's this grand tapestry that's being woven right now, and each and every one of us has a specific color or energy or frequency to creating that tapestry, it's going to be incomplete without your thread. And I really invite you to trust and to open to the great potential and possibility that your presence matters, that your gifts do make a difference. These voices of, like, who, me? and like, oh, it's just this, or like how we can like put ourselves down in that way. If you are feeling this right now, just really inviting that invitation, that on a really deep level, that you chose to come to this earth for a reason, that you are holding a particular frequency that, yes, actually is medicine for someone, for something. And it's so helpful sometimes, to understand that or feel that, because when we as women, offer ourselves in service, there's a bigger draw where we have our purpose. And so I believe that this self-doubt and this place of, being scared to step into your power is also an invitation to really redefine what power is for you. Because, power isn't control, and power isn't always, leading in a particular way. And power is not, domination. And it's there. I know that in these feelings, like scared of being seen, scared of being seen, and like feelings of rejection, or what are people going to say, because I don't want to feel what I felt before when I felt pain in this way. And at this time, it's like there is no more time in a way. It's like now is the time to make that choice of mustering that deep love, the essence that's really inside of you, and trusting that and saying yes to that, because that is your power. And that power is the thread that we need in this great tapestry. So I ask of you, to take a step, in this next week, whenever you're listening to this, like to take a step in this next week to do something that scares you, to do something that's going to challenge your courage, and to take a baby step, on that razor's edge, because there's a lot, I believe, that is coming for us in this planet, so much that may be really unexpected, and it's already here at the same time. And we really need each other, and we need each other's gifts, and we need each other's support, and we need to be fully present with each other. So it's my request to you as a sister on this planet, for you to take that step and to take your place into this great orchestra and this great sisterhood that, has been coming to the planet for however long, and have, that we've been together for lifetimes. And we're remembering each other once again. And we need you. We need each other. So that is my request. And knowing that you're totally supported, that you do have women around this globe that are walking this path with you, alongside of you, some in front of you, some behind you, to assist each other, as we all really are here to catalyze remembrance with each other, and to uplift one another and rise together. And that is this other aspect of the goddess that's rising. She's rising through our sisterhood to truly remember what that is, so that we can unite and move away from separation and competition and jealousy, and come into celebration, and come into collaboration and honoring of one another. So this is a place that I would love to meet you in.
Yes. I wondered if you could share a fear that you have faced recently, anything that you have overcome or worked through or been really loving to yourself with? And what has that been like? What have you learned? How did you do it?
That's a really good question. I mean, I can't think of something that's super recent, but I can say in sort of a different, like in this last chapter of my life, or I guess it feels like more chapters now, but I think this is something that a lot of women can relate to also, that you know, have maybe experienced. It was, oh gosh, I don't even know how many years ago now, but I just feel like this is what's coming through. So, was this fear or challenge of letting go of a relationship.
Mm.
And that lasted and lingered for quite some time. And actually, in hindsight, was, you know, my final, like, saying no to that and saying yes to myself is truly what catapulted me forth into creating Goddess Rising Sisterhood in our mystery school. And so that's a really powerful piece for me on my path. And I would say that, you know, I really had challenge of, you know, saying goodbye. I'm like, okay, because I want to, you know, work through this karmic challenge, or, you know, to like truly be in, you know, in this catalyzation of creating another um, way of being together. And, you know, and just after quite some time of really these challenges of looking at my own, you know, like fear of the future. Okay, well, what's this going to look like if I leave? And, you know, everything coming up of, you know, a full spectrum of what it would leaving the home, leaving, like not having anything really, like really detaching fully. And, you know, and listening. So really through this is like listening to my deep intuition, listening to my voice. It's time to go. It's time to complete. I'm cutting these cords. It's time to say goodbye. It's time to move forward, and doing that. And when I did, you know, I had a transition time of actually being a sort of a hospice for my dear angel dog spirit guide to pass through onto the other side. And then I moved to Maui. And it was this great call that I had received truly from the goddess, very specifically, to come to Maui. And everything really has, from that time, catalyzed into my deeper sense of purpose and my deeper path of service and as priestess, and deeper you know, alignment with relationship. And, you know, now I am living with, and I've just bought a home with, truly the king of my dreams. And he is freaking amazing. And he is truly my beloved and my best friend. And, you know, it's something that I have felt I had, you know, desired and wanted since a very young age, like knowing that there was someone, you know, that I really truly was meant to be in this life with in that way. And it's happening now. And that's happening from me having the courage to be like, okay, no, I'm saying no to this, and I'm saying yes to this. And I'm really following my heart, and I'm following the guidance that I'm receiving from within myself. And so I think that that is like a continual test for all of us as women. It's like, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years ago, when we were trained to really be exercising our intuition and our gifts in this way, it was a lot easier to navigate. But we're dealing with so much in this modern world that challenges us to, to be in our, in our heads all the time, and not so much in our bodies and in our intuition. And so we're constantly, needing to tune into our truth and our intuition in this way, to really listen to what's there, because that is our compass. That is our guide. That is the goddess living inside of us. This is our soul guiding us inside. And so, I think that really comes down to, this great learning, and this opportunity to constantly be tuning within to listen, and not seeking the answers outside of ourselves. And when we do that we are truly guided, and that, we're guided into living our dreams. We're guided into, I was, guided into being here and walking this sacred path right now in this particular way. And so, yeah, that's what comes up right now, when I think about that, and the importance really of saying yes to the voice and the feelings, the gut intuition that lies inside of us.
Following your heart. And from that place, you had to take a leap. You had to really trust in the universe that your next step was going to lead you into something even greater than you could have ever imagined.
Yeah, absolutely. On an emotional level, on a financial level, on a spirit level, on like in every way. It's like, okay, here we go. Here come the wings as I leap. And, we each have to take that leap, that truly, it's called the leap of faith for a reason. It's like, we got to take that and like, okay, that's when the wings sprout.
Yes. Wow, such amazing work and wisdom and that you've done and that you've shared. And I wondered what you're excited about in your business now, what is happening for you, and if there's anything, offerings, things that you're doing now that you'd like to share with the women listening.
Well, I really, first and foremost, want to share that, that welcome any woman here to come into this deeper recognition of her own power through the power of our body, the power of our cycles. And so there's a free moon charting map that I invite all women to have by their bedside table, to be charting, and to have this be a sacred ritual to do, once a day or once every couple of days beside your bed, to get to know your rhythms, get to know your body and the way that it connects with the moon phases and your emotions and your sexual cycles. It's truly, I feel like this sort of like 101 of the modern woman right now. It's like coming home to, what are my cycles? What are my, what, and how our power comes from that is cyclical. So that's what I'm super passionate about, is this, this cyclical power that we have as women. And so, yeah, so you can download that for free on the website, and we have free rituals for you to come to at the high holy days on the wheel of the year, to celebrate your connection with the earth and sisterhood and your own journey of empowerment and awakening and healing. So those are just really, heart offerings for any woman at any time. And in terms of, going deeper with, the mystery school and, things that require tuition, we are about to, because I think we're doing this in February, right? This is a February.
I'm feeling pretty inspired to share this sooner.
Okay. So whenever this is going out, just stay connected. But there's two things for 2017. Yeah, where it's all timeless.
we're beginning the next year of our Moon Sisters Temple. And so that is truly a global Moon Sisters Temple. That's a membership for you to step into a quarter, or step into as long as you want, leave whenever you want. It's truly a temple space of living by the moon. It's like your living guide to what is happening in the cosmos and bringing this down to earth and how this is impacting us. So really it's an invitation to join in global moon rituals, to truly be in a reawakening of and remembrance of and empowerment of your feminine wisdom for your life, for your love, and for your leadership. So 2017 is lunar power for us to recreate as the revolutionary, for us to rewild as the priestess, and for us to step into the reawakening as a medicine woman. So that's what's in store for the first quarter of January, or of 2017, which is January, February, and March. And then in February, my dear beloved priestess sister, Joanna Maya Cohen, her and I are going to offer our 4th round of our Priestesses of the Moon initiation training and Goddess Rising Moon Temple facilitation training. So this is really a next level deepening into the moon mysteries and the womanly arts, and for all the women that wish to bring this power and wisdom of the moon into their communities to be a part of our Goddess Rising Moon Temple collective. Then our next facilitation training is happening in 2017, and Priestess of the Moon is the first step that's required before that training. So yeah, it feels like a really big year. I'm excited because I can feel the momentum of us as a sisterhood rising, and how when each and every woman who feels this call to deepen into her power, it's like there is this innate connection to our hearts, to the moon, to nature, to rhythm, where we realize that we're really not separate from that. So, okay, let's remember all these cycles that live inside of us, and how we get to then embody all of these different faces for our lives, to live our dreams, for our own love and all of our relationships, and to truly rise in our leadership, because that's what we're being asked to do as a global sisterhood. And I see it all around me. I see it within you, Meredith. I see it within our mutual web of women entrepreneurs and sisters, and we've seen it around the world. And so this is what I'm offering for 2017, and truly welcome you to jump on in, because it is time for us to rise. It's time for us to shine, and to do so from a place of being really nourished and feeling really held and supported.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I'd like to express my gratitude for you being here today and sharing with us. And I wondered if you would do the honors of sharing a closing prayer.
Thank you. And I want to really honor you, Meredith, and thank you for holding this space, and for guiding me into some potent questions to journey into, really in service for our sisters, and feeling the sacred space and the power and the seat that you're holding, and really appreciate you. Yeah. Okay, well, let us close all together. I would love to invite you to place a hand upon your own heart and a hand upon your womb space. And to give yourself 3 deep breaths. As you feel this heartbeat underneath your hand, and this rise and fall of your womb space, of your belly with your breath. And for you to know and feel in this moment that that is the beating of the one heart, the one pulse of life that is here holding and supporting you. That is the heartbeat of the goddess. And that is the heartbeat of love. And as you feel the rise and the fall of your womb space, your belly, that you offer into this belly, this womb, this portal of your creation, this true center of your creative power, for you to plant in a quality or a desire of how you wish to feel in these coming cycles that are changing into this new year, and to plant in, maybe that's, so maybe that's courage, and maybe that's self-nourishment, maybe it's connection, or maybe it's completion or boundaries, whatever right now from this conversation, from this transmission, that you feel you could really need, or that you could use, or what would feel like medicine for you, to plant that into your womb space. And as we do this all together, no matter when you're listening, because the annals of time are truly seamless, that we honor all that we're each planting in this sacred womb, this deep womb web where we're all connected, where we meet to celebrate, to witness, to affirm, and support all of the medicine in which we need. And to know that it is in its own timing coming forth, and for you to receive that as a blessing. And to feel the love that's coming from your heart, breathing that in and giving that to your womb, and to that intention, whatever medicine that is that you need, that you water it with a deep breath of your love. And from the heart space that is generating this, for you to feel this flame of true connection here in this one heart as well. The truth that lives here, that your voice matters, that your presence matters, that you are valued, that you are supported. When you rest into the rhythms of your body, when you rest into the earth, when you rest into the goddess, that you are truly held and supported. And from this place of support, asking you to take your next steps to truly rise as the incredible woman that you are, the goddess within her. And I would love to close, to seal this all up with a mantra that I know you know too, Meredith, if you want to sing it with me. And the mantra of Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. And in this way, this ancient Sanskrit prayer that I first heard years and years ago from Amma, that we extend out our heart for all beings in all the worlds to be happy and at peace, and that our presence and our actions can contribute to this. So we can do one Om and chant it 3 times. And inviting you, if you know this, to chant with us, as we truly are connected to all of creation, and offer this this transmission and this conversation and this podcast to benefit all sentient beings. May this be support for that. And so inhaling, exhaling, and inhale for the prayer to close. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace within and all around. And with the reverberations and the all of the soundings, we offer this. And thank you for your listening, sisters, and joining us in this sacred time with your presence. And I'm so honored to be here with you, Meredith. Thank you so much. And handing it back to you.
Thank you, Achintya. And just bring my hands to my heart and bow with gratitude. Namaste.
Namaste.